Retracted.
Disengage from landing pad. Moderate speed on exit.
Scan detected. Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Rumors circulate around Seojin-A. An anonymous source has leaked information regarding Seojin-A, suggesting that she may be in serious jeopardy. Seojin-A, the individual once known as Subject D2, voluntarily departed from a private medical facility in January, where she was under the care of former Aegis members. She left a message stating, "I have unfinished business with Salvation. The engineer Kid Fowler discussed the recent rumors during his End Times broadcast. Something is definitely going on, people. The interstellar grapevine is buzzing with gossip about Seo Jin-A. That cortical implant in her head, which provides some weird insight into Thargoid behavior, makes her pretty much most valuable person in the galaxy right now. Some say that a Black Ops teams have either kidnapped or assassinated her. Maybe it's Azimuth. Maybe it's a dead man's switch group belonging to Salvation. One pilot tells me he spotted an Aegis patrol in the Ngawayanka system and thinks it was sent to recover poor Seo's body. And a hacktivist from the collective has intercepted comms fragments containing the words Bright Sentinel and Nemesis Protocol. What secrets did Seo uncover? And is she still alive to share them? Aegis has been approached for comment, but only reiterated that they are currently investigating Seo Jin-A's whereabouts. Director Nassim Kadir, head of medical research at Azimuth Biotech, provided a statement. Aegis's amateurish efforts to examine Miss Seo have clearly resulted in some form of dissociative disorder and paranoid delusions. This explains her obsessive vendetta against a man whose death was independently verified. If Miss Seo can be located, she should be returned to Azimuth's specialist laboratories for her own well-being. Aegis recommends preventative anti-xenotactic, Pilots Federation alert. An analysis of the ongoing Congress votes against Hudson contravention. President Zachary Hudson's motion to allow him to serve a second term of office has been defeated by congressional vote. The proposal would have temporarily repealed the 77th Amendment of the Federal Accord, which sets a maximum presidential term of 8 years. A narrow majority voted not to accept this change to the Federation's constitution. President Hudson addressed Congress following the announcement of the result. The Federation's democratic principles are paramount, and so I accept the decision of this chamber. I only hope that the disruption caused by a shift in leadership does not weaken our ability to withstand the current challenges. It is with total conviction that I say the Republican Party will achieve victory in the ongoing war and maintain security within our borders. I intend to support the next Republican candidate to the best of my ability. This outcome confirms that President Hudson's administration will officially end shortly after the election, which is expected to take place in June but with no official date set. However, considering his many commercial and military connections, Hudson will remain a powerful political figure with a loyal supporter base. Nominees for the Republican Party's new presidential candidate have begun lobbying for support. The frontrunners are 3 senior members of Hudson's cabinet: Vice President Jerome Archer, Secretary of State Lana Berkovich, and Grand Attorney Edwin Espinosa. Congressman Tandeka Kwabe has also been nominated despite her relative inexperience. The Liberal Party's candidates, Shadow President Felicia Winters and her running mate Isolde Rochester, have launched their presidential campaign. Several independent candidates are challenging the 2 main political parties, but only the famous entrepreneur Zachary Rackham is being viewed as a serious threat. Aegis recommends preventative anti-xenotactic, Pilots Federation alert. An analysis of the ongoing Thargoid war has been released by Aegis and made available to all
Hull integrity compromised.
superpower and independent navies. The focus of the report centers on protecting systems at threat of Thargoid invasion. It suggests that anti-Xeno forces are primarily fighting Thargoid invasion fleets which have already arrived, understandable due to the immediate risk to civilian life. However, Aegis proposes that increasing defensive efforts for systems at threat of invasion would be a more efficient way of slowing the spread of Thargoid-controlled territory. Commodore Emil Varga provided a statement alongside the report's release. The effort required to repel an invasion fleet is far higher than dissuading that fleet from entering a system in the first place. We believe that Thargoids have assumed a path of least resistance approach to expansion. Thanks to the efforts of our skilled pilots, we have sufficient evidence to show that Thargoids will not deploy a full-strength force in locations where advanced Thargoid vessels encounter heavy resistance. The Orthros vessels, in particular, appear key to prepping systems for invasion. The exact mechanisms in which they do so are yet to be verified, but an authoress appears to provide key logistical details about an expansion target. It is
Cannot comply.
clear that invading Thargoid vessels know exactly where to emerge
Frameshift drive charging.
from hyperspace to attack local ports and tactical
Ready to engage.
assets. Destroying authoress
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
ships may be key to safeguarding an alerted system. As an incentive to draw combat pilots to systems on alert, combat bonds payouts on authoress vessels have been increased. Ammonia World Survey concludes. Pilots Federation alert. Aegis and Universal Cartographics have announced that the project to survey Ammonia Worlds has ended satisfactorily.
Heatsink deployed.
The exploration initiative was praised by Congressman Tom Gillespie, who oversees federal contributions to Aegis. An impressive number of terrestrial planets with ammonia-based atmospheres were scanned and catalogued over the last 2 weeks. Universal Cartographics certainly considers the project to be a great success, and I know our xenological scientists do too. This is the kind of task for which independent commanders are absolutely unmatched in dedication and expertise, and they remain our indispensable allies. Vice Admiral Schuyler Anderson, the Imperial Military Liaison to Aegis, added, "This information is of considerable strategic value. Each system containing an ammonia world will be monitored using concealed sensor buoys. This will alert Aegis to the presence of Thargoid vessels or maelstrom manifestations. Advance warnings will provide increased time to evacuate systems or mount preemptive strikes. Pilots can receive payment for their exploration data at Angus Manwaring Starport in the Eta Cassiopeia system. The promised multiplier on exploration data profits The next 2 weeks has also commenced, with Universal Cartographics providing this through its starport contacts. Federal eyes on Congress debate. Preliminary motions on the forthcoming Hudson contravention vote have begun in federal Congress. The proposal, named after President Zachary Hudson's call to suspend the 77th Amendment to the Federal Accord, is a point of significant contention. If approved, Hudson would be eligible to run for another term in this year's presidential elections, breaking with centuries of constitutional law. Supporters of the proposal, led by Hudson's cabinet, point to the ongoing conflict with the Thargoids as a primary reason to vote in favor. With the significant escalation in Thargoid aggression and the loss of hundreds of systems, it has been argued that a change of leadership could weaken the Federation's ability to defend itself. Opponents have called the move a dictatorial tactic which uses the fear of alien attack to influence public opinion. Felicia Winters, the Liberal candidate and current shadow president, recently discussed this further during an interview with the Federal Free Press. In these difficult times we cannot forget
Cannot comply.
who we are, or what makes the Federation great. The 77th Amendment was
Frameshift drive charging.
established in 2594
Ready to engage.
and has defined
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
the presidential length of service ever since. This structure not only provides clarity to the people who use their vote to inform federal governance, but also to each individual entrusted with the honor of the presidency. To change it now would send a message that we have lost faith in the Federation's political mechanism. The official vote on the Hudson contravention motion is expected to take place next week. Archon Delane counters Mahon's rebuke. Archon Delane has rejected Prime Minister Mahon's warning over an alleged attempt to gain control of systems in the California Nebula. "Wake up, old man Mahon," Delane said in a public broadcast. "The Kumo crew migrated into the nebula with help from some mutual friends of ours. People you now consider allies. You like to portray us as criminals lusting for power and influence, but the real crooks are much closer to home. Rather than watching us, you should try looking over your shoulder." Independent journalist Flint Firemaker Lafos published his observations via the Rewired network. "Watching two of Sirius Corporation's business partners openly fight like this must be making Lee Yong-Rui cringe as much as his poker face allows." What's that? You never heard of the most powerful megacorp in history dealing with pirates? Surely not. Delane is clearly referring to 3307, when he somehow convinced Kevin Orr Spaceframes to build him 5 Orbis stations. One of these, California Freeport in HIP 18390, planted the Kumo flag in the nebula and served as the base for the gang's recent attempt to seize Allied assets there. It was never revealed how the syndicate funded the construction of the starports, or why Sirius Corporation subsidiaries appeared in those systems around the same time. But you don't have to hire the Wall Glass Agency to find a connection there. Oh, and
this is Flight Control. Confederate pilots are welcome, Commander.
by
Landing
the way,
pad access
Kevin Orr
denied.
Spaceframes was
Your right
renamed
side is
Rackham
7.5
Spaceframes
kilometer
following its
range for
purchase
docking
by
request.
Rackham Capital Investments last year. What's that? The Trillionaire and the Pirate.
Access granted. Proceed to your allocated pad, Commander. You have
Working
been cleared
together
for
as well?
approach. Feel free
Surely
to relax.
not.
Your docking computer is in control.
Alliance sends warning to Kumo crew. Recent activities by the Kumo crew syndicate in the California Nebula have been formally condemned by the Alliance. Councillor Jed Traeger supervised an investigation into the Kumo Council's attempt to take control of several systems, ostensibly to defend them against a wave of Thargoid attacks. He summarized its findings
Landing gear deployed.
during a session of the Assembly. Intelligence provided by Alliance Interpol agents proves that the underlying objective of the Kumo crew's anti-Xena militia was to dominate the California Nebula. The syndicate had gathered ships and infiltrated civil institutions weeks earlier, using bribery and coercion to pave the way for their takeover. Further Thargoid attacks in the region
We've got you safe and sound. Commence shutdown. What can we do for you, Commander?
was seen as inevitable based on past behavior and the prevalence of barnacle sites. When they occurred, the Kumo crew mobilized their pre-prepared forces, overthrowing local authorities under the pretense of emergency security measures. Our investigation has concluded that this was a brazen act of aggression against Allied factions. The Kumo crew illegally attempted to hijack the Alliance's assets and impose direct rule over our colonies. Prime Minister Edmund Mahon delivered a public statement. The Kumo Council's opportunistic attempt to profit from the horrors of a Thargoid invasion is a truly despicable act. But it has not gone unnoticed that they have suffered setbacks in Hades, Colabanates, and Seantiana since this misguided effort to disrupt Allied operations. I am grateful to the communities within the California Nebula, and to those independents who aided them, for resisting these criminals. My message to Archon Delane is this: the Alliance is watching you. Marlinists facing increasingly grave future. The Marlinist colonies are struggling to survive the harsh realities of independence while preparing for the impact of the Thargoid War. An editorial in the Marlin Standard summarized the situation. In recent months, our noble goal of building a Marlinist republic has been harshly curtailed. Many of the original 8 colony systems, among them the capital Concordia, are now dominated by outsiders including Federal and Sirius-aligned corporations.
No gravity. Magnetic contact active. galaxy can be a dangerous place. Choose the fertile lands. Falcon to Lacey, bridging the stars for half a millennium. Zorgo Peterson, where finesse.
Landing gear retracted.
Landing clamps disengaged. Restrict speed until a carrier is far behind you.
Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
Far God cultists rescue Seo Jin A. Seo Jin A has arrived safely in the Loiton star system, aboard an order of the Far God megaship. A message was transmitted by the first apostle of the True Chapters, a proactive sect of the pacifistic religion, from aboard the Testament. The one known to non-believers as Subject D2 or Sejin A is sacred to us as the Preceptor, the first human to interpret the will of the Far God. We know her to be a holy emissary on
Incoming message.
personal pilgrimage that exposed her to great danger. I was able to convince my brethren to locate the Preceptor and offer her safe harbor from the heretics. I beseeched the Preceptor to help us hear the Far God's divine thoughts as she does, but she informed me that the time was not yet right. She requested a reunion with her friends, who also seek ways to commune with its heralds. While this insistence on collaborating with the unworthy is curious, we have faith that the Far God guides her path. One day the Preceptor will prepare us for the extinction of all life. It is our honor to serve her. Professor Albert Tesreau gave a statement to the media. I am very grateful to the First Apostle for her help. The Testament's timely intervention routed several unidentified hostile ships that were hunting Sejin A. Once she has completed a medical assessment, we hope to learn more about her recent findings. Congressman Tom Gillespie has instructed Aegis not to make formal contact with Far God cultists, whose faith is outlawed in the Federation as well as the Empire. A week's clemency has been issued in recognition of Sir's safe return, but the Testament's presence
Incoming message.
deep in federal territory is likely to irritate President Hudson. Marlinists facing increasingly grave future. The Marlinist colonies are struggling to survive the harsh realities of independence while preparing for the impact of the Thargoid War. An editorial in the Marlin Standard summarized their situation. In recent months, our noble goal of building a Marlinist republic has been harshly curtailed. Many of the original 8 colony systems, among them the capital Concordia, are now dominated by outsiders including federal and Sirius-aligned corporations. We have survived persecution, civil war and terrorism, only to find our people exploited by the opportunism of neighboring factions. In the Empire, the prevalent viewpoint is that the Marlinists are suffering the consequences of their own actions. As Senator Arturo Durant remarked, they voted to reject the Emperor's offer to become an imperial protectorate, so now they must pay the price. Compounding this is the increasing danger posed by the Thargoids as their fleets penetrate deeper into the core systems. The Citizens Chronicle newsfeed has published concerned messages from some Imperial citizens for their Marlinist cousins. One viral commenter proclaimed, "The colonists aren't enemies. They were once our loved ones, our friends and family, driven away for their political beliefs. How can we turn our backs on them?" The Marlinist Parliament has signaled a willingness to contribute to Aegis, but its priority is to establish control over its chartered systems. First Minister Octavia Volkov has admitted, "Without a dedicated military to achieve this, our future prospects look increasingly grave." The Marlinist situation is mirrored elsewhere. as noted by war reporter Ernesto Rios for Vox Galactica, vulnerability to Thargoid attack is a universal concern among independent systems. Many non-superpower factions are banding together in small clusters to cooperate on anti-Xeno operations and share resources. A spirit of camaraderie has arisen in the face of annihilation. But will that be enough against the overwhelming might of the Thargoids? Explorers needed for Ammonia World Survey. Pilots Federation alert. Universal Cartographics has announced a 2-week initiative to locate planets with ammonia atmospheres. The survey was outlined by Cynthia Sideris, chairperson of Universal Cartographics. Aegis has urgently requested an update to our database of terrestrial planets with ammonia atmospheres. It is no coincidence that each maelstrom is located in a system containing such worlds, given that Thargoid biochemistry is ammonia-based. We are therefore liaising with Aegis to chart as many ammonia worlds as possible. As well as contributing to xenological research, our intent is to identify potential staging grounds for Thargoid fleets and arrival points for additional maelstroms. Over the next 2 weeks, pilots can obtain increased payouts for delivering cartographic survey data to Anger's Manwaring starport in the Eta Cassiopeia system. Only ammonia world data will be recognized for the purpose of the survey campaign, however, with detailed surface scans particularly appreciated. As an incentive for participation, general cartographic data payouts will be multiplied for a further period if the initiative is successful. The multiplier will depend on the campaign tier achieved. The most recent survey of this kind took place in 3306, when Sirius Atmospherics claimed to be developing a method of terraforming ammonia worlds for human habitation. Dr. Maximilian North has since stated that the project is on hold following practical obstacles impacting our ecosphere conversion theories. Caustic Sync launcher aids Maelstrom exploration. Pilots Federation alert. Aegis's initiative in the Duanta system has kickstarted production of a ship module designed for caustic environments. Shipments of advanced catalyzers, heat-sink interlinks and palladium were delivered following a request from Professor Albert Tesro. Pilots also provided tissue samples extracted from the caustic generators inside each maelstrom, which are a vital component of these modules. Manufacturing bases have now been established, allowing stocks of the Caustic Sync launcher to reach the public market. Dr. Maximo Fonseca, head of xenological research at Gateway Laboratories, published a statement on behalf of Aegis. The Thargoids have developed powerful defenses to prevent their enemies reaching the heart of the maelstroms. The dangerously caustic gas clouds are an effective deterrent, and have sadly claimed the lives of many intrepid pilots. So, the Caustic Sync launcher is an exciting breakthrough that will both save lives and facilitate vital data recovery. Now that ships can survive for longer within the clouds, the acquisition and study of tissue samples and caustic shards should increase. The next priority for Aegis is to study massive energy surges that prevent access to the inner region of a maelstrom. Aegis has invited all pilots who took part in
DeLacy Hotel Foxtrot Alpha, please submit a standard docking request before attempting to land.
the delivery
Access
initiative
authorized.
to collect
Please
their
enter
rewards
ID
from the Orunmila in the
Automated docking initiated.
Duanta system. Rackham reveals presidential manifesto. Trillionaire entrepreneur Zachary Rackham has launched his campaign to be elected as federal president in the forthcoming election. He outlined several policies during a press event in the tropospheric suite of Rackham's spire on the planet Homeland. As I see it, the job of president is to help ordinary, hard-working people from humble backgrounds, just like me. So I pledge to reduce all civil taxes and public service fees, and boost government funding for business grants and commercial opportunities. Let's make everyone rich and successful, just like me. Mr. Rackham is running for the position of federal president as an independent candidate and claims support from several corporate interests, including Rackham Capital Investments. His manifesto has
Landing gear deployed.
triggered a surge in popularity, with several high-profile
retracted.
Disengage from landing pad. Moderate speed on exit.
Scan detected. Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
But he's promoting his campaign slogan, "Just like me." However, economists have noted that his tax-cutting proposals remain uncosted and are considered virtually unachievable. The journalist Brianna Blanco, who has been investigating Mr. Rackham's business affairs for years, described his presidential promises as populist nonsense from a former pirate turned politician. The presidential election will be held in June 3309. Shadow President Felicia Winters has confirmed that she will represent the Liberal Party, with Congressman Isolde Rochester as her running mate. The Republican Party candidate will be announced after Congress's vote on the Hudson Contravention, which is scheduled for mid-March. If this constitutional amendment is it will permit President Zachary Hudson to stand for a second term. Other senior Republican congressmen, including Vice President Jerome Archer, are also preparing their electoral campaigns.
not comply. Frameshift drive charging. Ready to engage. 4, 3, 2, 1, engage. Surface scan complete. Surface scanned by 50%. Surface scan complete.